So, um, as you probably noticed, I haven't done a video in a couple of months. Um, One, my son was here in October, so it was really nice to have him for that month, and so I didn't want to screw up our time by doing one of these videos. November, I was just lazy. Um, the first couple of weeks of this month were finals, so I had to get my classes done. So I have a month off now, where I can do a lot of different things. And so next year I start my final semester to get my undergrad. So anyway, so many things have happened, that I don't even know where to start half the time. You see me looking away. I've got Geek Squad doing a tune-up on my laptop, uh, just for a little buzz. I love Geek Squad. Whenever I buy something from Best Buy, I always get Geek Squad. They bailed me out of so many little issues, and so they always clean up my computers, and I'm happy. And so, boom, we're good. Anyway, so where to start off? One, I'm usually not up this late. I'm usually in bed hours ago, but I couldn't sleep tonight. Plus, I live near an Air Force base, so they're doing night ops, and so I don't know if they normally do this or if it just happens to be this night. So my son's dog was all weirded out, and so he was keeping me up. Plus, I had a bunch of things going through my mind, so I figured, let's get up, let's do some work, let's be productive. So anyway, here's what we're gonna do. Today, or tonight, the House of Representatives passed a $1.1 trillion budget to fund the government for the rest of the year, except for the Department of Homeland Security. That they only funded through February. So you're wondering, well, we have all this money, so why only through February? It's because of President Obama's push to legalize illegal aliens. They're kind of hoping the new Congress can get in January, do some cattle rustling, and figure out exactly how to fund this or not fund this. So, why am I talking about budgets so far when all this other stuff has happened? Well, I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey's. And for those of you that don't know who he is, he's a gentleman who, at the age of 26, was a multimillionaire, and he went bust. Some can say, well, yeah, it was sort of his own fault because he got overextended, and some of it is like, well, the banking at the time was kind of screwy, and so they didn't like dealing with a 26-year-old that owed them a couple of $1,000,000 in real estate loans. But anyway, nowadays, he's got a radio program on, I don't know, 500 radio stations, I think, around the country, best-selling books, all this stuff. But he teaches not to have any debt. And so, while I listen to him almost every day, and when I can't listen to him every day, usually either Saturday or Sunday, I have iHeartRadio on, and so I can listen to like a week's worth of programs during that time. But what caught my eye today is they're saying that by the year 2024, our federal debt could take up $1 trillion just in interest a year. And that's just ridiculous. I mean, for those of you that don't understand this system, we are a republic. Most of you think, oh, we're a democracy, but we're not. We are a republic. We elect people to go to our nation's capital and there to do the business that we, the citizens, cannot do on our own. And so, just to give you a little synopsis of how this might work. If we were a true democracy, what that would mean is, say President Obama said we were no longer allowed to eat Smurfs, and to say that somebody ate a Smurf when you saw the blue around their face would be illegal. If we were a true democracy, every voting citizen in this country could go to the polls and vote on whether, yeah, we thought that was a good law, or no, we didn't want that to be a law. So we would go to the polls, cast our vote, they would tally them up and say, okay, 185 million believe this way and 80 million believe that way, so the law passes or fails. In a republic, we each have our little districts. We know that we have 2 senators. Without going into a lot of history, technically speaking, the senator from the state is not supposed to be elected if you go by what the founding fathers wanted, but that's a different thing. So we have 2 senators from each state, and depending on your population, you can have just a couple of representatives. Say like Rhode Island, I think they have like 1 or 2. They might have a little bit more than that. And if you're from Rhode Island and you have more than that, excuse me, I don't know. Or like California that has, I don't know what, 45 or 50 of them. And so your representatives are there in their nation's capital, and so it's a lot easier for 435 representatives to discuss the ins and outs of stuff than it is for 320 million people. And so we have these actually 535 people, considering the House Representatives and the Senate, and they just passed a $1 trillion bill to fund our government. And in less than 10 years, that $1 trillion will only cover the interest on our debt. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I make out my monthly budget every month, and I'm saying, okay, X amount goes for this car payment, and X amount goes for that car payment, and car insurance, and cell phone bill, and water, and electric, and food, and all that other stuff, you know, I don't have like a credit card that I can pull out of my ass and say, oh, okay, well, I can pay it now. In 10 years, I can spend, $100,000 to pay it off. I don't have that. I don't think I'll ever have that. And quite frankly, I don't think I'd really want that kind of debt. And we shouldn't have debt. Debt's killing us. Okay? So for those of you that, hey, think it's all right, or the norm to have all of this debt, whether it's $50,000 car payments, $300,000 home loans, $20,000 on credit cards, and all that, you know what? You're screwy. You're nuts, and I'm glad I'm not you. I'm in the process of paying off all my debt. Besides one car loan, everything that I owe money for will be paid off by this time next year. Other than that, besides student loans that I've gotten for school and stuff, and this car payment, I'll be done. Granted, I'll be 42 next year, but you know what? My house is paid for right now. Right now, I could call up car companies and say, you know what? Come get these cars. I don't want them. But I live 8 miles from town. I live 2-3 miles from the nearest convenience store. So having to walk is kind of an issue. So I have to have a car. But I don't have to have a car that I owe money on. So think of it along those lines, like they say, is that new big screen TV really going to do all that for you? What is it? Rosetta Stone that says, is that new TV really going to make your life better? or is learning a new language. Granted, learning a new language can add to your employability skills, and you might go a little further. But think of it this way. For those of you that know a little bit about math, interest and stuff, compound interest, present value versus future value. You know, that $1,000 that you spend on that smart TV this month, what is it going to be? What's that $1,000 going to be worth down the road? You know, figure a good mutual fund where you can get 7-8% a year. That means it doubles every 10 years. So in 10 years it's worth 2,000. In 20 years it's worth 4,000. You know, in 30 years it's worth 8,000. You know, if you start thinking about stuff that way, you realize, hey, I'm spending a lot of money in the wrong places. Now, hey, granted, hey, if I had a smart TV, I could do a lot of stuff, especially since, you know, I'm starting to get into doing more with my computers other than sitting on Facebook all day and playing games, which I still do, but I've got multiple computers, so I've got different stuff up. But still, come on, people. We cannot have 535 people in Congress and one moron in the White House and say, okay, in 10 years, I want you to pay $1 trillion in interest. Come on, work with us, people, okay? Have a good day. I love you all. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you when I see you.